loud. Stand by. Hang on to your hats. And it's recording. I don't have a piece of wood, so I'll use this 3D printed part to tap us in here. Welcome to the... Wow, it's January 2021. Omaha Astronomical Society meeting.
How about that?
Ooh, ladies and gentlemen.
And we had 5 good days before this year went awry too. So
yeah. Okay, let me find the correct window. Dun, 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 dun. Present. Hey, if you've got headphones, please use them in the meeting. Please remember to mute your microphone when you're not speaking. Spacebar can act as a push-to-talk button. If you do not want to be seen, whoosh, you can mute your video. You can change your view to side-by-side. That way you can see their screen and the people at the same time. You can raise your hand using the icon at the bottom. It's not participants list, but there is a reactions button if you have the more recent updates to Zoom. To file a motion, please unmute and state your name. And to vote, we can all unmute and say aye or raise the button, one or the other. Do we have any guests with us this evening?
Yeah, hi, my name's Matt. I came to a handful of meetings, but it's been quite a few years now, so I'm hoping to kind of get back and get re-engaged and attend each month. So nice to see everyone.
Cool. Thanks, Matt. Did you pop in last week briefly?
I did, and thank you for posting that the information about the meeting not being that night. Yeah, that was me. Thank you.
Because I saw you there and you looked closely as I posted it, and then.
Yep, I appreciate that.
Good. How long has it been since you last been to a meeting? If you said it's been a while.
It's probably been 2 or 3, maybe 4 years now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it's been a while, but yeah, glad to be back.
Welcome back.
Yes, welcome back. Are you familiar with all of our benefits of membership?
I think I am. Yeah, I need to fill out my membership thing and rejoin. But yeah, I think I am. So yeah, appreciate it.
Cool. Do we have any other guests with us this evening?
John's there. John
That's
Wright.
right. John Wright.
Yep.
Well, John Wright, I can say that if you're a member of the Astronomical League, well, as a member of OAS, you will be a member of the Astronomical League, and you will receive the Reflector quarterly magazine.
Cool.
You get access to Astro Park. There's Janine Shane showing the Reflector. You can get access to Astro Park, our observing site near Weeping Water, Nebraska, just outside. We have a great telescope loan program where you can try out a telescope, observe, and experience the different types of scopes. Our monthly newsletter, The Stella, which has got a lot of information and nice articles. And we've even set up a Discord servers for members to converse and collaborate. I think that's all of our guests. Is that correct?
John, can I say something real fast here with regard to John Wright? He is an Air Force guy and really interested in getting a first telescope, but he has a strong interest in electronics. And Louis, you would be interested in this. He has stepper motors and an Arduino and would like to make his own drive for a mount. So that's kind of interesting.
Sounds like OpenStep. Might be something to look at. We can talk later.
Yep, sounds fun.
Just what I need, another hobby.
If you're like me, then the wife says you got too many now already.
Yeah.
Oh, of course. We still have our program going on with Astronomy Technology Today, where our members have been offered a subscription to that. So if you want to get access to that, you can go ahead and contact me out of band outside the meeting. So did we? Yes. Very good.
How many people used Astro Park?
I haven't said, I don't know yet. How many
Okay.
people have used Astro Park?
I did.
1. Got to be more than 1. How many times did you go, Aaron?
Just the once.
Just the once? Okay.
It's been cold.
I bet.
Give him credit for 2. He shoveled.
No issues driving in. You have a Subaru, right?
Yeah, I've got the Subaru in winter tires. It wasn't amazing, obviously, because there's a lot of snow on the ground, but it was passable. I'd bring a friend just in case he happened to get stuck, but it wasn't too bad.
Okay.
By now, it's probably melted and perfectly clear.
And you don't have connectivity issues when you're there, right?
No, I have fantastic cell signal, honestly. I've thought about streaming on the Discord signal when I'm out there sometimes.
Wow.
If anyone's bored, so sometime.
Which, if I may ask, who's your carrier?
Verizon.
Verizon. Okay. Thank you. So that would be 1, Diana.
36.
I have 1 recorded.
Don't really have any upcoming important dates. Rodney, do we have any awards chair?
Not that I'm aware of. Just still working, trying to figure out what's going on with Janine's, but I haven't heard of anything new.
Okay. I'm curious, did anybody send any information about the conjunction award? Like independently send anything for Jupiter and Saturn?
No, I didn't know there was an award for it.
It was a one-off, essentially. The person was just saying, send me the info online. You had to do observation, drawing, or photograph to do it. I don't have the page up, so I couldn't really tell you about it, but
Oh, wish I had known about that. Yeah.
Me too. Yeah, me too. I got a couple really bad pictures, but
well, you still might apply if you've got
Discord
that.
server.
Hmm?
I posted the link on the Discord server.
That's where
for
I
that.
saw it. Right. Thank you, Sue.
okay. I will check that.
Yeah, I remember seeing it on Discord.
Was anybody out at Flanagan Lake?
For the conjunction?
Yes.
Yes, it was crazy.
Yes, it was. I was out there.
Were you in the north lot or the south lot?
I don't know. I'm from Council Bluffs. I just showed up and met with some people. And
okay. There's a small lot to the north where there's a playground to the west.
Yeah, it's pretty close to that. And there's a boat ramp right there.
Yep, that's the south parking lot. So there's 2 lights in that parking lot, and the north lot, there's 1 light.
And the 1 light was right in front of me. So
yeah,
I was right in the boat ramp area. Met up with, I don't know, it seemed like 50 people, pedestrians, not necessarily members, but kind of shared my telescopes with them. I'm Randy Driver, by the way.
Hi, Randy.
This is my first Zoom meeting, so bear with me. Actually, I was
welcome, Randy.
With the first one, but
well, welcome.
Hi, Randy. We were down there with you at the boat ramp.
Oh, were you?
Yeah.
Okay. Were you with the Dob right behind me? I pulled up in the Nissan.
Yep.
Okay, well, nice seeing you again then.
Yeah, welcome.
I was at the school just north of the north lot.
I was at 72nd and Sorensen in the Village Inn parking lot. I had a perfect view and all that. It was pretty neat.
Oh, I guess I should amend my Astro Park count. I went twice. I went for the conjunction as well.
Okay, well, I have 2. Hey.
OG had 2.
Sonali cannot be here tonight, so maybe I'll do it then. Here we go. For planets, Saturn, there's a conjunction with the sun on January 23rd, so you can see how that lines up with our chart there. The conjunction for Jupiter is on the 28th. Mercury is in the southwest sky in the evening in January. Mars is in the west, and Uranus is near that area in the west, so you can use Mars to find it. Venus is in the morning in the southeast. The after sunset trio of Saturn, Jupiter, and Mercury will be available the 8th, 9th, 10th, and 11th. It'll be the closest on the 10th, and it'll form a equilateral triangle within a 2.3 degree wide circle. So a planetary trio consists of 3 planets fitting within a circle whose diameter is less than 5 degrees. So that'll be for about 30 minutes after sunset. On January 13th, around 20 to 25 minutes after sunset, try to find Jupiter, Saturn, Mercury, and the crescent new moon, which will be just about 1 degree above the horizon. So you're going to need a clear view of that southwest to try to pull that off. Not in a dip like where my house is. Flanagan maybe, but we'll see. Meteor shower. The quadrantid meteor shower was from December 28th to the 12th. It peaked on January 3rd. Had a max peak rate of 120 per hour predicted.
Oh.
Likely from a minor planet, asteroid 2003 EH1, and possibly comet 96P. Maschultz may have some connection to asteroid 2003 EH1. For the moon, new moon is on January 12th, and full moon will be January 28th, based on Omaha times. The sun, at the beginning of the month, we are here at around 7:49 a.m. to rise. And by the end of the month, it'll be 7:35. So we're on that other direction for our light. And then the sunsets starts the month at 5:05 and ends the month at 5:39. So our evening is starting to get shorter in that slow trek towards the other half of the summer solstice. Outreach co-chairs. Steve, do you have a...
Yeah, there really is nothing to report. John has sent email, I think, indicating that any of the events that were canceled have been canceled, that were not canceled, were in fact canceled. And I think everyone is just anxious to try to make that happen again. I hope it can work out by the time summer gets here.
Mm-hmm.
There may be individuals doing some things. I don't know, but I had some neighbors, very, very few people come up for the conjunction. We had some beautiful viewing of that. But that's all I know of.
And the cows?
I know that the conjunction on the 21st was kind of like an unofficial outreach. I mean, it wasn't publicized. And it was sort of like a handful of people like, well, if you come out, some friends or family come out and take a look at it. But when I was at Flanagan at the playground lot, I pulled up. It was still sun out. The sun hadn't gone down yet. And I was approached by a woman if I could tell her what settings to put on her camera to take the pictures. So I did the best I could.
Kendall and I moved about 20 miles north of town. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
When we did the crescent moon and Jupiter and Saturn, a couple stopped in their pickup truck to see if we were having car trouble because they could not see from the highway where our telescope was. So we showed them what was going on. And then pretty soon we had a bunch of cows show up too.
So pretty big outreach event.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trans-species outreach event.
Were the cows suitably over the moon about the
I
experience?
was going to say, they didn't jump over the moon.
No, they were just looking for the moon.
Oh.
I take it you stayed out until the cows came home.
Yeah, when I was up at Village Inn, I was watching it, and all of a sudden I'm getting ready to leave, and there's a couple behind me, older couple, and I pulled up, asked him, I said, "Are you here to look at the conjunction?" And the guy goes, "Yeah, it's right there." I go, "No, that's a planet. It's over here." He goes, "What?" So him and his wife looked at it for, I think, about a half hour, and I finally left.
Cows were utterly amazed.
Oh.
I was going to use that next. I was going to say
Hey,
how
stop
utterly
milking it.
ridiculous the jokes have been.
Reply to that.
But we'll just have to
Stop milking
know,
it.
chew on
They
the rest
weren't-
of our
They
ideas.
weren't amused.
Nope.
Get a grip, John.
Okay. Telescope and binocular loan program chair, Stafford.
It was surprisingly lively for the depths of December here. The 6-inch black dot and the 6-inch telescope both came in. The black dot probably went right back out. One thing that came in between the newsletter and now the 8-inch Meade SCT came back just this week. What else we got here? Oh
The
yeah, the
telescope
11 by
came
80
back.
binoculars went out too. Just a quick diversion, if I can do this reasonably well. We showed that the 10-inch Dob is still under construction. I have back in here some evidence of progress, at least. Oh, there we go. Got, with the help of Steve Skinner, we got pieces cut out and drilled, and I've got it sort of pieced together to give a good idea of what it will look like and where we stand with it. And if you notice on the round disc there, if observing is not your forte after a while, you can flip the scope over and read the California cancer warning. So that's where we're at. I'm really hoping to have this done pretty shortly, at least structurally, and ready to go possibly next month.
Looks like it's wrapped with Christmas ribbon.
Yeah.
That's a tie-down strap that I use to hold it together.
Great. Thank you, Stafford. All right. Let me read.
I have a question.
Yes.
Can you put Stafford's
You want me to spotlight
display
him
back
again?
up? No, put up the chart. The
Oh,
telescope.
okay. Yeah, I was getting ready to
telescope
do
chart.
that.
Stafford, I have a question about this chart. In the next available column, not to pick on anybody in particular, but say scanning down to the 4-inch refractor, it says that next available is in October. So does that mean that that particular instrument is not available until October of 2021?
The individual that has it lives in Des Moines, and he explained that he comes into town every now and then.
Yeah, no, you're not understanding my question.
No, it was supposed to be for October 20th. It just hasn't returned yet.
Well, then I think you should put the year in there so that people that are scanning it and want to check something out, if they want something in particular, then they could reach out to you, and the three of you could make more adjustments. People may not be trying to check something out because they think it's unavailable. Do you understand what I'm asking?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, thank you.
If, for example, the 13-inch knob that I have is available. I still have it, but it is available if anybody wants it.
Yeah, and that's great. And I'm not suggesting that everything be pushed back into Stafford's garage. I don't think that's a good use of our resources. But having it available, if I check something out, I would like to use it until somebody else wants to use it. But I wouldn't want to return it early if nobody else is going to use it. So I think having a year in that next available column would be beneficial to people.
So I produced the slide, and it was just referenced from the original Stella, so I didn't put any years behind it. So I will own up to that part.
It's an easy thing to add for
Yeah.
the next time. I agree, it's a good idea.
Okay.
Well, this is Nina, and I think in the past, when your time is up, when your time limit is up, I don't remember if it's 60 or 90 days, but the status was changed to available, though you still held it. And I don't know if that would clarify things better or not.
Yes, I agree.
Like that?
That's the way it
Like
used to
that,
be.
yes.
Okay. All right.
No, it really is confusing.
In other words, the 13 is available for use, but is not currently in the possession of the telescope loan chairperson. But it could be if needed be.
Of course, now with this with the status saying it's available and the next available thing saying it's next available in July, that you need to change that as well somehow.
Put a star there.
Now.
Just put the year.
Or put upon
Just put 20.
request. Or can you put like a borrow time frame, like they borrowed it July, they're going to return it, or make it available June, whatever the 30, 60,
Generally,
90 days
the July, the month there indicates when it will become available. Well, if it's been available since July of 2020, and Mark still has it, that's great. He's taking care of it.
That'll work.
But if somebody wanted to borrow it, now they can tell that, yes, it is available and Mark has it. And if they contact either Mark or Stafford, then arrangements can be made.
Just putting the year in there doesn't really help.
No, you have to make next available blank.
Next available now is what it should read.
Now or
Agree
blank?
with upon request sounds good.
Yeah, that works too.
Just blank is okay.
So I feel a column there should be something in there indicating when it's available.
Or status available indicates now.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't need the month.
True.
Okay. So the purpose for the list would be, here's the current status, not necessarily using it as a list to keep track of who has what.
I think you keep track of who has what by its current location.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, you have to leave that one in there.
Maybe that's a topic for discussion in new business. I don't know. We can we will work on that. How's that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think I would go like a projected borrow time frame. If they did it on one date and they get it for 60 or 90 days, put that date in there.
Well,
that
they're
way
all
you know
90
when they
days.
that way you know when they got it and when
That's
by
the way
rules when it's available.
currently set now. Is this is the date I enter, usually 3 months after it gets checked out. So that's the construct to start with.
Okay.
What I have kind of wrestled with is how do you handle the overdues, I guess you could say that, because the wording on the sheet says you can renew, and when somebody either renews voluntarily or I pursue them, I will then bump the date up a little bit further. So I gave some thought to renewed versus checked out versus available. Or I could take the library approach and put maybe overdue or something, but that just seems a little heavy-handed, I guess, but
Don't need anybody else shaming anybody. We got someone else to do that.
Yeah.
If you just put now there, like for me, Yeah. August, just put now it's available.
Okay.
Uh-huh. Now. And the location just says where it is because we don't have a physical warehouse or anything where they stay. So location is fine.
I agree with that.
Well, I think it's easy that if Carol has that Celestron, it's great if she's housing it. Maybe she keeps using it. But if somebody calls and says, hey, I'd like to borrow it, then we make arrangements with Carol. I think location is fine, but what's important to know is that it was maybe due in August, that it's not really checked. It's checked out. It's available now. It's not really overdue or delinquent unless Stafford can't get a hold of you and he's trying to chase down where the telescope is.
hey, John, how is this presented in the Stella? Because this online stuff really doesn't matter because nobody's really looking at that. It's more going to be important about where it is in the Stella.
Let's see, where do I have it?
Have it on the back page, just behind the membership form. And I've wondered if the inventory is strictly up to date on that. Because I know that we've had a few changes, some new equipment and some old equipment rotated out. And if I could get a complete listing of what we currently have in inventory, that would be immensely helpful.
The inventory is in good shape on the Stella. But the only deviation I see right now is the Meade 2080. But like I said, that got returned after I sent you your input for the Stella this last trip. So.
Okay.
And just to clarify, people should not contact the person that has the scope. They should be working through Stafford always.
Right. Agreed.
Okay. Alrighty. The Zoom bar gets in the way. Program chair.
All right, so tonight we are going to have Jenna Barjay do our presentation, and she's actually been working on getting the first international dark sky park here in Nebraska. So Nebraska does not have any international dark sky parks right now, since she's been working on that for a really long time. So that is our presenter tonight, and we'll talk a little bit more right before she goes on.
What was her name again?
Her name is Jenna Barjay.
You spell the last name?
Bartja.
Okay.
Thank you. Kendall. Tool time.
Okay. I'm here.
I also have your photos if you...
Oh, I can share them.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Been rather busy the last couple of weeks. See, the first thing that we got into was the Great Conjunction. And I'll find these. There we go. On the 16th of December, you could get the moon and Jupiter and Saturn together above the horizon. And took this from north, about 15 miles or so north of our home. That's where the cowboy and his wife showed up to check us out.
Endo, we see your file manager, not the image.
Oh, great.
I think you need to share the entire screen rather than just the application window.
That any better?
Yes.
Yep. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
And we saw the cow jump over that moon.
I was hoping to get the horizon into it as well, but by the time we got set up, it was dark enough, no more horizon. This was basically Canon DSLR and 28 to 105 zoom lens cranked out all the way, 105 millimeter. Okay. Yeah.
Stay in this photo and then just move your mouse over to the right-hand side to get the arrow, and then just go farther. Farther, doesn't an arrow show up? Can't you pop to the next image then from there? There's the arrow. Yeah. Click on that.
There, good.
Way over there.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
tiny.
This is actually the day after. This is the 22nd, which is the day after the conjunction. I was playing games with various combinations of optical tubes and cameras, and finally what I ended up with was the simplest. Is my 4-inch refractor DSLR. I was using Backyard EOS for software, and it does have what they call a planetary mode. You can zoom five times zoom, so you can get full resolution. In this case, each pixel is a little over 1 arc second. But the only thing that's disappointing with it is that I was not able to get any bands on Jupiter and Saturn. I've got Registax downloaded, and I need to figure out how to run it. I might be able to dig some bands out of the 2 planets. Let's see. Next one. The quadranted meteor shower. It was awkward this year. The peak was on the 3rd, but it was a bit after sunrise. And it didn't work to try to stay up until late the previous night, because we were getting the moon rising both the 2nd and the 3rd in mid-evening. So what I ended up doing was taking a couple of hours or so, 2-3 hours of exposures on each evening and quitting when the moon gave up, or when the moon rose. The equipment was my Ioptron equatorial mount, DSLR, and a 50 millimeter fixed focal length lens that I acquired recently. The whole thing was pointed at Perseus. You can see the double cluster up on the left is M34 towards the top, Murphak and Algol, and then another cluster down on the right. The whole field of view is something like 19 by about 15 degrees. Now I managed in about 5 to 6 hours altogether, I managed to get what I think are 3 meteors, and I zoomed in on these. Got quite a few satellites and even a couple of airplanes. But these are the, this is the first meteor. The first night out, I was using a 6400 ISO and a 15-second shutter opening, and the focal ratio is 2.8. The lens I've got is best f4 and smaller. It's tolerable at 2.8 and really not at all nice to look at 1.4, which is wide open. I could get get lenses that do look good at 1.4, but they're 2 to 3 times the price. You see all the speckling and different colors because the exposure time was so short. Okay. Now this is the second one from the first night. And this is the one that actually makes sense to be a quadranted. If you remember from the full picture, the double cluster was up at the top left. The irradiant for the quadrantids, which was actually below it, was well off to the far beyond the top left. So this particular direction, top left down towards bottom right, that's reasonable for a quadrantid. This is the only one I captured that looked like that. And this is the third one. And this came on the second night. And for that one, I was getting bothered by all the noise, so I ended up dropping the ISO down to 3200 and extended the shutter time to 30 seconds. Since then, I managed to picked up a good 24 millimeter f1.4 lens, and that one I can get as many photons in 15 seconds at 1.4 as I would need a full minute to get a 2.8. So then there should be a lot less noise in any photos I take with that thing. Okay, let's see. And this was the last one I did a couple days ago. That's the constellation Orion. It's about 3 hours and 20 minutes, ISO 800. In this case, it's f4, so that the stars in the corners would look decent, and 2 minute exposure time for each sub exposure. And then all of them aligned and stacked. I didn't need to guide anything with a good polar alignment. The mount tracks accurately enough that at 50 millimeter focal length for the lens, it doesn't drift enough to cause any star trails. Now you get up to 400 millimeter or 793 like my refractor, then you definitely need guiding. Otherwise, the stars are going to look like crap. Okay, and that is that. I'll see if I with the triplet of Jupiter, Mercury, and Saturn tomorrow. I'll see if I can capture that. I don't know how well that will work.
With your new lens?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure quite what I'll use. I think I'll end up using a zoom with that. And it would be nice to have a 400 because that would be the best choice. And my refractor, probably the field of view isn't quite large enough. It's about 1.6 by 1.1 degrees, and I don't think that's going to be quite enough. I'll have to play with it in stellarium tomorrow morning and make sure. Okay. Now, how do I shut this down?
There should be a box at the top.
Stop share. There we go.
Great.
That was great.
Thank you, Kendall.
Thank you, Kendall.
All right. Do we need to take a break? Start the program at what, 20 after?
I got
Sounds
something I want to ask anybody. I've got a bunch of telescope parts that I went through a bag or a box I got up here, and I've got them listed what I got and the original prices on them. But this is just a handful of stuff I'm going to try and start getting rid of now. I got to figure out how to share my screen again. Right there. Can you guys see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That's just a bunch of things I've got in a box. This came from the Rockbrook Camera Center. This is some of the things. I've got like 4 more boxes downstairs I got to dig up in inventory. So if anybody wants any of this stuff, let me know. So that's it. Alrighty.
Hey, Tom?
Yeah?
Would you post that list in the chat section?
Pull them back up now. All of them. No. Yeah. Trying to see where Tom Wilson is.
The list. Take a picture of it.
At the risk of adding one more chat room to the Discord, it might make sense to add kind of a buy sell trade channel to Discord as well if people have things they're looking for or things they want to get rid of.
We used to have it in the Stella because I found a 2005 that has stuff for sale.
If you're going to make a suggestion about changing Discord, you should do it when John Larson is not away from the headphones.
That's fair.
John agreed. Just tell him he did.
Could he just put the post up on the screen again, and those of us who want it just take a picture of it with our smartphones?
Sounds good to me.
Who wants what? What?
Very high tech, isn't it? If you post them on the screen again, and then I'll get up my little smartphone and click, 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 just take a picture of our screen.
There you guys go. Could do a screenshot too.
On Windows, there is a tool called snipping tool. You can say new, and then you just do a select. Boop.
Is that good enough?
Good enough for me.
There you go.
Been doing more Sunday drives, so to speak, lately. You know, the car shouldn't sit for too long. You got to drive it to keep that battery fresh. We went up to
Mine goes out
Takema.
once. Yeah, mine goes out once a week, but only out to Western Omaha.
It's also good to burn the carbon out of your engine to get on the highway if you're a city driving person. Anyway, we decided to drive up to Tacoma to the Summit Lake State Recreation Area. It's a reservoir up outside of Tacoma. And it was actually not that bad. I mean, if you're looking south, you're going to get a little bit of Omaha sky glow on that, but it was a bit darker than I thought it would be. We really didn't see more than 1 or 2 cars when we were up there. It was around 9 o'clock. But this was one of the shots. Do you want me to? I can share the screen real quick if you want to see it. That was one of the shots with the wide angle lens.
Pretty.
Yeah, I
Nice.
was quite surprised at how well it did. Just going up there. Boop. These were pretty short exposures. 3.2 seconds. This was on a camera. These were on a camera I borrowed from work, but this was my wide angle. Looking southeast and then to the north.
Kendall and I used that spot quite often when we lived back there in Omaha.
Did you?
Mhm.
You were on the north side of the lake?
There's one particular pier, that juts out into the
Oh, really?
lake. There's one that's really good. It's better than all of them.
Okay. Because there's the campsites, but if you're in the campsite, then you have the hills that are close to you. But I never thought about going out on the end of that pier.
Yeah, there was one that's really good. I can't really describe without looking on a map or looking back at my log what direction it was, but we just had to be lucky enough that it wasn't filled up with fisher persons right on that same pier. But usually, even if there was, they would share it.
Mm-hmm.
There
Or how
also
much
might
night
be
fishing
another
would you
spot
get?
near the dam that might be usable too. I went up there once during the day and thought I saw a little pull off up that way. But Janine, you're right about the fishing and camping population, like in the spring and the fall especially, will generate a lot of traffic up there. Wintertime, though, is pretty good.
These are rock. So
John, share your screen again.
oh, duh. Thank you. Here I am looking at it like you could think you could see it. So we took our pictures over here in this little turnout.
Mhm.
But the piers are down here.
Kendall left the room for a moment. It's one of those. Seems like it was just about the farthest one you could drive to.
Yeah, there's the
To get
this side you can't really get to easily from because the road's closed going that direction.
well,
So you have to come in the other way.
Hmm.
But this is near the boat ramp on this one.
I just don't remember.
John, could I have you scroll more toward the west side of the lake there? Okay, now right about where your cursor is. If you go down, there's like a little square. Yeah, right there. That's a spot I've used on a handful of occasions. I kind of like that one because the trees that you see by the little stream in the foreground there they weren't as tall as I thought they looked. So you had a reasonably decent southern sky. It's still a little obscured. And the hills block out a little bit more of Omaha's lights. Now, as you go to the west, it's hillier again, but you can still work with it.
Well, I was thinking, with it's kind of like Astro Park, you got that southern view because Omaha's to the north. And here, Omaha's to the south, so you have a northern view that might be darker. So that's one of the reasons I was thinking about it. But I've only been there twice. I've only been there once at night. The other
No,
time was to look around.
We camped there several years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and the bar across the lake had a very bright light.
Well,
That would have been from the first campground.
Okay. There's a for sale sign in front of it now. Over here, the way north.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, supposedly they were only doing takeout right now during COVID, but there was a for sale sign in front of the building when we were up there a couple weeks ago.
Well, maybe the light will be off for a while then.
Yeah.
Out of
Okay.
curiosity, I pulled up the dark sky map, and that's a little bit darker than the Weeping Water site.
Okay.
We often used a place about 10 minutes farther south from Weeping Water called Prairie Owl Lake.
Hmm.
I think that's what it's called.
And what's this northern one again?
That's Summit Lake State Recreation Area. It's west of Takema. So from where we live, it's the same distance from time-wise if I drive to Astro Park as I drive to Summit Lake. So it's about the same distance for me. It's like 51 minutes from, like, if you got to go through Blair first, and then it goes up to Takema.
I think I remember the road we drove on to get to the pier we used. If you drove all the way, it ends up in the outhouses.
Okay.
So get to the outhouses, turn around, and then from there, the first pier you get to, I think that's the one we used.
Okay.
The one that's closest to the outhouse at the end of the road.
Yeah, there's a little one here. There's an outhouse there as well.
Yeah. Now move your cursor up. Stop. A little more up. There it is. I think that's ours. I think that was ours.
Okay.
And it pretty well blocked out the light from the restaurant and stuff.
There's a person in a kayak right here in this picture.
Uh-huh.
Notoriety. Okay, let's see. I gotta stop. Did I stop sharing? No.
It's kind of a steep bank you had to walk down, but not too bad.
Oh, okay. I switched my camera view. That's what I did. All right. Shall we ready for our program this evening?
Yeah. So.
Okay. Let me see. Is she in the? Is she going to call in? Is that what?
I mean, she's already here. Jenna should already be here. Jenna, are you here?
She's on my screen.
Oh, okay.
Pretty sure she's here.
I'm here. Hello, everybody.
Perfect. Let me just give an introduction here. So Jenna Barjay is the adventure travel specialist for Nebraska Tourism. She focuses on identifying, developing, and supporting nature-based tourism assets in the state. Before moving to Lincoln in 2018, she worked for the Grand Canyon Conservancy Field Institute at Grand Canyon National Park. It was there that she learned firsthand the value of natural darkness, and she's been using her knowledge to protect and promote the dark skies in Nebraska. So Jenna, like I said earlier, is really sort of spearheading the first international dark sky park in Nebraska, and that would be at Merritt, obviously, for obvious reasons. So without further ado, here is Jenna Barjay.
Thank you so much, Lee, and hello, everybody. It's so nice to see so many familiar faces. I have attended some of the Nebraska Star Party planning meetings for the past few months, and it's been educational and wonderful to be able to experience that. So thanks, and thanks for having me. So I'm just gonna share my screen. All right. So yeah, hold on one second. I need to look at something else. Does anybody know if I can look at a different document while I'm also sharing the PowerPoint? I feel
Do you have two screens?
I do not. Just have the one.
All right. So if you
And I can wing it if need be. To an extent.
Normally, like the presentation is full screen. You should be able to, did you share the whole screen or just the application window for the presentation?
Just the application window, I think.
Okay, you should be able to use. Are you on a Mac or Windows?
Windows.
Okay, you can do Alt Tab to find your document.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
And we'll still see the presentation, but you'll have to use your mouse to click over to advance and then Alt Tab back to your. If it takes focus, you can Alt Tab back to the document.
All right. So you guys still see the presentation?
Yes.
Perfect. Okay. And then if I want to do the next slide, do I just use my arrow button and it should still work, or do I have to go back and forth?
Yes, it has to be. It has to be in focus from the application standpoint, because if you use an arrow or a mouse, you can use the mouse to click the presentation screen. If you have the arrow though, you'd have to click first anyway.
I'll figure it out. So yeah, so today I'll just be sharing a little bit about my role in helping designate Nebraska's first international dark sky park. So I think as one of your recent speakers informed you guys, light pollution is a growing problem in the world over, especially in the United States. It's increasing worldwide at twice the rate of global population growth. 8 out of 10 people in the world live under a light polluted night sky, and at least $3 billion is wasted on outdoor lighting each year in the United States. As well as most species that are studied, it has now been come to realization that in some way light pollution harms them. And this is a 100% man-made issue. We're the ones that are causing this. So knowing that we know now that the harm associated with light pollution, what can we do about it? And one of the ways that we can do something about it is through conservation of our dark sites. Let me just change slides here. There we go. So I've pulled up a light pollution map of the United States. Hold on, I'm trying to get back to my notes here. There we go. And as astronomers, you guys are all probably pretty familiar with these. You've likely used them to help you decide where you take your next vacation or where you might want to try your luck at observing on the weekends. I loved how you guys were sharing that site, Takema, and just, sharing your insights into where you got good viewing opportunities. But these maps are also really the best tool that we have for identifying which areas remain relatively unpolluted from artificial light. So the places that remain naturally dark and pristine, they are quickly dwindling. And so these areas are where dark sky preservation efforts are currently being focused. And it's kind of backwards because, as most of us know, cities are the real troublemakers. You know, they're the ones that are lighting up the night. So the pristine dark sites, you know, the reason that we are focusing on those as our kind of first tier of conservation is because they may be our best tool for educating the public to initiate change elsewhere. By preserving them and promoting them as locales where people can come and see what the night sky really looks like, what it should look like, is probably our best shot at impacting public sentiment about outdoor lighting and inspiring them to advocate for change where they live. Which will circle back to those cities and more urbanized areas. So, I think I might have gone 1, 2. Okay. And then, all right, so this kind of brings us to the role that the International Dark Sky Association plays in helping to preserve the night. So they are the recognized authority on light pollution and the leading organization combating it worldwide. So since 1988, IDA has helped lead a movement to protect night skies from pollution. Their approach to realize this vision is by guiding strategy, monitoring results, and supporting aligned actions among IDA chapters, volunteers, and other stakeholders. By providing leadership tools and resources for individuals, policymakers, and industry, they reduce light pollution and promote responsible outdoor lighting that is beautiful, healthy, and functional. So thanks to the organization's commitments, they have been able to designate more than 1,000 dark sky or provide more than 1,000 dark sky certified lighting fixtures available in the marketplace. 133 international dark sky places have been designated, protecting nearly 100,000 square kilometers of dark places around the globe. 64 chapters are operating in 18 countries, and 23 dark sky communities have adopted strong lighting policies and implemented ordinances to protect their nightscapes. So, although IDA does take a multifaceted approach to light pollution, as they should, today I'll be talking specifically about their International Dark Sky Places program and how they've used it as a tool to protect those dwindling dark areas that we saw on the light pollution map. The award-winning International Dark Sky Places program was founded in 2001 to encourage communities, parks, and protected areas around the world to preserve and protect dark skies through responsible lighting policies and public education. The IDSP program, which is what I'll kind of refer to it as, is the IDSP. I know earlier on in the conversation, people were talking about acronyms, and I will be using some of them. So I'll try and let you know when I'm using an acronym. So the IDSP refers to the International Dark Sky Places program. So the IDSP program recognizes locations with exceptionally dark skies and local efforts to keep them that way. Many of these places are state or national parks, and tourism dollars that are generated through visitation to these locales help sustain and protect these rare and fragile places for the benefit of future generations, as well as inspiring stewardship of the night sky. The International Dark Sky Places are designated through an application process. And this process almost always begins with a small group of individuals who organize to seek formal protection of their nightscape. The evolution of this movement looked no different here in Nebraska. For many years, astronomy enthusiasts in Nebraska, including many of you, I'm sure, have lobbied their communities to adopt good outdoor lighting policies, worked to rehabilitate poor quality outdoor lighting installations, and reached out to educate friends, neighbors, and visitors on the importance of dark skies. all of which has laid the groundwork for an international dark sky place in our state. So the International Dark Sky Places program, it offers 5 types of designations. And I'll just kind of briefly take you through which those are. So we have International Dark Sky Parks, which are typically just either publicly or privately owned spaces that are publicly accessible at night and protected for natural conservation. They implement smart outdoor lighting policies and provide some type of dedicated programming or dark sky outreach for visitors. International dark sky reserves are similar to parks. The main difference is that reserves typically are larger land areas. They consist of a dark core zone that is surrounded by or populated by a periphery where policy controls are enacted to protect the darkness of the core. So they may be surrounded by communities that have agreed to adopt certain lighting policies or ordinances that affect their communities to help preserve the darkness of core areas. Dark sky sanctuaries are a step above that even. They're typically the most remote and often darkest places in the world whose conservation state is the most fragile. So places like this, oftentimes topography or geography will make these sites harder to access to the public, which is again part of the reason why they may be some of the darkest areas in the world. And so they're kind of this, at least for these 3, it's kind of a tier system of designation. And then we also have international dark sky communities, and these are legally organized cities or towns that adopt outdoor ordinances and undertake efforts within their communities to educate residents about the importance of dark skies. And then there are finally urban night sky places. And these are sites surrounded by typically larger urban environments whose planning and designation actively promote an authentic nighttime experience in the midst of significant artificial light at night, and that otherwise do not qualify for designation within any other international dark sky places category. So this could be like something like a suburb of Omaha, perhaps, could potentially pursue an urban night sky place designation, knowing that they don't have a dark sky resource that might be as pristine as somewhere else. IDA wants to recognize that community leadership and kind of banding together to celebrate, natural darkness and advocate for smarter lighting policies is something to be recognized. So here's that map of Nebraska, the lake pollution map again, zoomed in on Nebraska. So of these different designation options, I certainly felt that when coming to Nebraska and looking at or canvassing for potential dark sky sites, an international dark sky park was probably the most approachable option. So especially in a state like Nebraska, where 97% of the land is privately owned, public spaces are pretty few and far between. And in addition to that, even though dark sky parks can be private land, there is a stipulation that it needs to be publicly accessible. And folks here, at least from what I've learned, are pretty serious when it comes to their property rights. So I felt like it was probably better to focus on public land areas in my exploration for potential IDSP sites. So the cat's kind of already out of the bag. I think most of you guys already knew what site we were pursuing, but I was going to play this guessing game with this photo and see if anybody knew off the top of their head where this was taken. I think we all know at this point that it was taken at Merritt Reservoir and State Recreation Area up near Valentine. And this is where, of course, the annual Nebraska Star Party has been held for the past 27. This year, I think, will be the 27th year that it was held there. And
28.
28th. Ah, darn.
Well, we count last year as well.
Even though it was the unofficial. Part of what kind of going back a little ways to why Merritt was selected, looking at the light pollution map, of Nebraska, a large swath of darkness presides mostly over the Sandhills region of Nebraska, which in its own right is a really unique and beautiful landscape. Because the Sandhills are not really suited to row cropping, they've been mostly utilized for ranching. So this whole vast region that makes up about a quarter of the state in size is mostly made up of these vast privately owned ranches with some public land sprinkled in here and there. So they've just, the people that live and work in the Sandhills have really been able to, enjoy a kind of pristine slice of the heavens in an area that has largely been undeveloped otherwise and unurbanized. So when I seriously started looking into where we might possibly pursue an international dark sky place, this is where I was looking, is in this large swath of the Sandhills. In the light pollution map, what are the darkest areas? Where are the publicly accessible or public, land use areas within that region? So Merritt was identified as early on and particularly appealing site because it is also the longstanding host of the Nebraska Star Party. So as it turned out, the Nebraska Star Party Planning Committee has been laying the groundwork for Merritt to become an IDSP for years. So not only had they already installed shielding on a lot of the kind of higher barn lighting that exists in the park, but perhaps more importantly, their education and outreach through the years had brought about an awareness in the surrounding communities that their nightscape was special and did deserve to be cherished and celebrated. Uh-oh, come out of my little, there we go. So since it is managed, Merritt Reservoir is managed by Nebraska Game and Parks, it was important that kind of early on in this process that we, come to them, reach out to them. I work for Nebraska Tourism, so I don't work for Nebraska Game and Parks. So although I was really interested in pursuing this international dark sky place, not just because I think that, protecting our dark landscapes is important, but also because I work in tourism and astrotourism is certainly on the rise. And it's something that it has a growing fan base and people will travel for stars. So, it aligned with my job as well. But being that Merritt is managed by Nebraska Game and Parks, it was important that we approach them about this early on. So I, in the early days of pursuing this accreditation, I did complete just an initial dark sky survey, as well as a complete lighting inventory of the outdoor lighting that existed at Merritt. And presented that to Game and Parks, proposed to them that they should consider, partnering with me or consider me partnering with them to help them pursue an international dark sky designation, something that would bring recognition to our state in a way that has not been done previously. And they luckily signed on. So with their help and the enthusiastic support of the Star Party, who again had already done, some initial, work toward, becoming or toward pursuing this accreditation, we really started our targeted approach for completing this designation or fulfilling the requirements of this designation in October of 2019. So there are minimum requirements for all international dark sky parks. I have linked the guidelines here for those of you that know that the devil is in the details. I will share this presentation out. I've shared it. I've tried to share it with Lee, but I'll try and drop it in like a Google Drive so that, because I think it was too big to email, so that she can feel free to share this out to anybody who wants it. But just for the sake of time, I'll kind of be brief about what the general qualifications are for this designation and what we've been working toward for the past 2 years. So all international dark sky parks have to write up a lighting management plan. And so this applies to their outdoor lighting. So it kind of restricts, restricts is a nasty word. That's not what we're supposed to use, but it does restrict the outdoor lighting that can be used within the park or installed within the park. You also have to take qualitative and quantitative measurements and supply evidence to support the site as an exemplary dark sky resource. So in this case, I have gone up to Merritt 4 times now to take dark sky surveys with a dark sky meter. Mostly my focus has been on the recreation sites, which is where most of the outdoor lighting exists. The park largely is lighting free. I mean, the only, in my lighting inventory, we cataloged a total of 83 exterior fixtures. So, comparing that to some of the other parks, national parks that have pursued this designation, for instance, Grand Canyon, they had over 5,000 light fixtures that they had to retrofit in order to bring them into compliance with a lighting management plan. So we only had 83. When I first started, seriously looking at this, I thought this is going to be so easy. It's going to be great. We're going to be done with this in no time. But like with any project, of course, especially when you're partnering with different, interagencies and things like that, things take time. So the qualitative and quantitative evidence that we use to support and substantiate the dark sky resource, that consists of, the sky quality measurements, as well as just naked eye observation. So the NELM observation. And that is something that Nebraska Star Party goers have also been helping me with. Other volunteers have also been helping me with to supply even more data to kind of support our claim. On average, Merritt has a sky quality. The sky quality average thus far is about 21.4. Some nights are better than others for viewing and for clarity. So we've obviously gotten measurements up there that are, way up there, but that's the total average of our kind of data collection thus far, which is really great. So the International Dark Sky designation requires that all parks maintain about a 21.2 sky quality. That's in the arcs per square second or whatever it is. I'll have to look that one up, but 21.2. So we're above that on average, and our kind of goal is to maintain that in future. We don't want it to get lesser. All applications also require a description of potential future threats to the resource. So this could be, major housing developments, major industrial, projects that are going to go in near to the resource. Luckily for Merritt, like I said, it's mostly surrounded by, it's adjacent to McKelvey National Forest, which is a national, it's public land managed by the Forest Service. And then largely the rest of the surrounding area is privately owned ranch holdings. So the plans for, the threats to this resource are really pretty few and far between. the designation also requires involving external partners in restoration efforts. So that one's one where you've got some options. You can do a couple of different things. You know, pick and choose what you want to do. Because of our partnership with Game and Parks, also the Nebraska Star Party, also the Bureau of Reclamation, which is actually who owns the land at Merritt. We were able to satisfy that requirement by, really having a robust list of partners that are all kind of working together to help bring this about. All national dark sky parks must have a commitment to public education and outreach. So typically for instance, for national parks that offer like interpretive programming, it would be a requirement that dark skies were incorporated, into those programs. Teaching people and visitors about those, about dark skies as a natural resource would be required to be incorporated. Since Merritt does not offer interpretive programming, the kind of alternative is just to supply flyers, brochures, or public signage, other forms of educational content that when people go and visit Merritt, they will be able to learn about why why protecting this space is important, and why we can all do our part to have better outdoor lighting fixtures, both on our homes, our businesses, and just kind of generally, wherever we may feel the need to put a light outside. Annual dedicated programming is also required. So a minimum of 4 events per year must take place at Merritt every year that it is designated from henceforth. So this has been something especially that is really new, and that we've largely had to kind of draw together different education outreach specialists that work for Game and Parks kind of across the state to help us develop these programs that will be offered at Merritt. It's likely that they'll probably change year to year. They may not be the same 4 programs every year, but it's still a pretty exciting new offering, that will be rolling out here. And then the last thing as part of this designation is annual reporting. So in the annual reporting, this kind of is a way for us to tell IDA what outreach, what public events, what dedicated programming, what sky quality measurements we completed in the year past. So these are due on October 1st of every calendar year. This is just, again, a way of us sharing that we're still kind of maintaining these really high standards that IDA kind of expects all international dark sky parks to uphold. And I don't know why I keep doing that. This is a wonderful image taken by the talented Brett Bowler at this year's unofficial Star Party back in August. This is an all sky image, and a lovely one, I think, at that. It features in the bottom, really the bottom left right here, Comet Neowise. Yeah, Comet Neowise, which was present and visible in the sky at that time. So this is, again, yet another kind of evidentiary support that we have to supply to as part of our application for this designation, as a way to show IDA what, if any, light domes exist on the horizon surrounding Merritt. So it's a fisheye lens that's used to kind of capture the horizon. As you can see, it's pretty pristine. You see some red lights in the background, kind of to the right of the image, and that's just people using their red lights as Star Party goers. So the kind of average process this kind of gives you an overview of how long, you know, the process takes, what the process is. So it starts with an initial inquiry. This is something that I submitted back in 2019 with the International Dark Sky Places program manager. So I just had to say, hey, you know, we're looking at this. Here's some initial, support to say that, you know, this is a pristine dark sky site, and that we'll be moving forward with our with fulfilling the guidelines for application. Phase 2 is compiling that formal application. So that's really been the bulk of the work for the past 2 years is, and as you can see, the average timeline for this is 1 to 3 years. So again, depending on the size of the area, the number of fixtures that you have to retrofit to bring into compliance with a lighting management plan, this could take some time. So not only have I helped, you know, with some of the data collection for this application, but I've also helped by providing a list of approved fixtures that could be purchased and to replace some of the outdated or non-compliant or not so great fixtures that exist at Merit currently. So that's where a lot of the work has gone. Things like, you know, if you don't already offer dedicated programming, which Merit does not, you know, they do not offer interpretive programming. They have a staff of 1 most of the year. They have some temporary staff in the summertime that brings their total staff up to 3. So we've really kind of had to get creative with networking. How can, you know, who else in the region can we pull from to offer this dedicated programming that will talk about, you know, the need for natural darkness, but it could be in relation to really anything. So the programming that we've currently set for this calendar year will feature a virtual event in May, since we're still not really doing encouraging in-person events. We'll be doing a virtual migratory raptor program. So Fontenelle Forest, which many of you may be familiar with, they have a raptor rehabilitation facility, and they've agreed to partner with us to talk about, to do like a live raptor program virtually. So they'll have live birds, you'll be able to like see them, and you know, they might do some like in-flight stuff. And of course, they'll talk about the effects of light pollution on migratory birds, especially. So that's going to be neat. We're going to be hopefully putting together an insect spotlight, a bat program where we may even put up some mist netting at Merit and capture some bats and talk about bats. And of course, the Nebraska Star Party, which will be the 1st through the 6th this year. So those are going to be our 4 dedicated programs that we'll have, that will be rolling out in conjunction with our application this year at Merit. So that brings us to kind of phase 3, which is a certification. So even after we've submitted our application, which we're hoping to do in early April of this year, there's an average timeline of 90 to 150 days. So 3 to 5 months in which the IDA program, the IDA committee will review our application. So typically the committee that reviews these applications is made up of people that, you know, may have submitted an application themselves. So they are, in fact, you know, employees of an international dark sky park somewhere in the world. And they'll look at our application and review it, and then get back to us with a decision. They'll either say, yeah, you passed, you're there, you're going to be accredited, or you got to work on these few things that we want you to review, but we'll still give you the accreditation. Or they could like outright deny us, which I don't anticipate happening, but I suppose if we put together a really crummy application, they might have to do that. So that's kind of the process in which that we're following and that we're on, the road that we're on to designation as of right now. And kind of my next hope after submitting the application will be I'm hoping to develop an IDA chapter in Nebraska. So IDA chaptership is, it used to be something that was kind of grassroots. So that people within a state like Nebraska, you know, the OAS, you guys have like 100 members, over 100 members probably, could kind of band together and say, hey, we want to actually become an official chaptership of IDA. You know, we do enough outreach and enough, you know, work that aligns with their mission that we feel as if we, you know, can become a chapter and apply for that. And nowadays, IDA actually, they will allow chaptership based on the number of IDA members that exist in a state. So I know that OAS, you guys do like a yearly donation or make a contribution to IDA, and that is wonderful. But this year I would absolutely encourage, if you can, and if you're able as an individual, to make an individual donation. A $35 donation is all that's needed for you to become a quote member of IDA as an individual. And that just gives them more of a, that allows them to gauge better, you know, the number of people in a state or in an area that are contributing and active. So I would strongly encourage that. And hopefully, you know, moving forward in the future, we can kind of band together all the different astronomy clubs within the state. I know there's OAS, but there's also the Platte Valley Astronomical Viewers. There's what's the other one? Is it maybe O'Neill? Maybe the Honey Creek Observatory and Marks is that might be the same thing. But you know, there's little pockets of people that that care about this all over the state. So if we can kind of get everybody involved and build a network, you know, we can make a better case for us to become a chapter, to have our own chaptership. And with that would come, you know, we would actually become part of IDA. So we would, you know, be under their 501c3 umbrella, and be able to kind of do some, you know, fundraising, things like that, that would come along with that title. And other than that, you know, when you're supporting IDA, you're also helping to do all these things. So you're helping to protect wildlife and ecosystems, promote dark sky friendly lighting, outdoor lighting. You're helping to recognize and preserve dark sky places through keeping their designation program going. You know, and through that foster outreach and education, and staggeringly more than half of IDA's annual operating budget actually comes from donations. It comes from supporter donations. So truly members of the lifeblood of this organization. And with that, I'll kind of wrap it up and say that if you want to learn more about any of the things I've talked about, you can visit darksky.org to learn more about IDA, learn more about International Dark Sky Places program. But I will also be happy to take questions if there's time and desire. And thank you for having me, for allowing me to kind of share with you just a little bit about what we've been working on and what we're hoping to accomplish. I don't think I said this, but if we do submit our application in early April, which is what we're hoping, because we're very, very close to having, we were actually hoping to submit by February, but it's not looking like the lighting at Merritt. One of the kind of stipulations is that at least 2/3 or 67% of the outdoor lighting at your proposed proposed dark sky site needs to be in compliance with an LMP at the time of application. And it's taking just a little bit longer to get those lights retrofitted than we had originally anticipated. So hopefully once those are all retrofitted, shielded, the bulbs are replaced with 3000 K or less lamps, then we will be ready, really largely ready to submit our application. So hopefully by early April, which would have a designation decision of around anywhere in between August and November of this year. So we can look for that exciting news on the horizon in late summer, early fall. And thanks.
Thank you so much, Jenna.
Thank
That
you.
was awesome.
Thank you. Yes, thank you very
I
much.
do have a question,
Terrific.
and that is, what can we do to help make Nebraska get an international dark sky park?
So in addition to, supporting IDA through the avenues in which you can also, email me. I am, once Merit's submitted, I will be looking at pursuing this designation for other parks in the state. Just preliminary things that, volunteers can help me with are taking dark sky measurements. So if you have a sky quality meter, get out and use it. Post your readings to the Globe at Night, or send me a file where you've recorded those readings. This is especially important in places that that do have a dark sky, that has a routine dark sky quality of 21.1 or greater. So if you are maybe out at Takema and you go up there frequently and you take your sky quality meter and you get readings that are 21.1 or higher routinely when you go up there, it could potentially be a dark sky, eligible for this designation. That's kind of one of the first things to look at. So take those readings. Also, certainly just general outreach is really helpful. So what you guys probably do through your club, is great. Talking about smart lighting with your neighbors, your friends, approaching public officials. If you have inroads with city councilmen or state senators, use those connections to have those conversations with folks, and kind of underline that this isn't just something that's really cool, that we as people that are lovers of night skies can get out and enjoy pristine darkness to observe in, but it's also could potentially become a real source of income for some of these communities. So, tourism dollars that are spent from people traveling to internationally recognized dark sky sites will have its impact on small rural communities like Valentine, which is the closest city to Merritt. It's 30 miles to the kind of northeast. They've got some things going for them already, but this is going to be yet another thing that will help drive people to that locale and stimulate their local economies. So, kind of having that broad ranging conversations about this with, people that you think can have an influence or an impact. If you're willing to volunteer, go ahead.
Janet, this is Nina Baker.
Yes, Nina. Hi.
Hi. Great presentation. Thank you. I just want to tag on to what you just said about the tourism and the small communities who have an opportunity to become better as they benefit off of astronomers who travel to the site. You mentioned that that NSP has been at Merritt for we're going into our 28th year up there. The people of Valentine love us. We go into their community. We purchase things from their stores. We're buying groceries. You know, we're dropping our big city dollars into their community. And it really does make a difference for them. And they know who we are when we walk in, because we don't look like fishermen. We don't look like hunters. Clayton and I walked into the grocery store one day, just, you know, early on. We're a part of the committee, so we go a day early. And so we'd walked in on Saturday, and as we walked through the produce department, there was a young man putting produce onto their displays, and he was busy with that. He looked up and he looked at the two of us and he went, "Oh my gosh, is it time for the star party already?" And it sort of blew us away. But they recognize us, they know us. So it does make a difference. And to encourage the other communities that we're good people, we want to work with the land. When we come, we don't harm anything. All we're doing is looking at the night sky. And so we end up being appreciated a whole lot.
Absolutely. I will say that, you know, part of working in tourism is learning to label people. So you label certain demographics. So astrotourists are typically, you know, kind of big spenders. They're going to come to your community, and you know, they have typically, you know, just, you know, enough disposable income to be able to really, you know, make those impacts even more significant. So, you know, again, sharing that, you know, saying, hey, you know, this could really be something that benefits your community. And you know, the clientele that you'll get, you know, it's not like, I don't want to make any bad stereotypes, but you know, it's not like a really rough crowd. They're mostly pretty, you know, pretty salt of the earth.
They're nerds.
Yes, we are nerds.
So,
and you know,
so that's
proud of it.
You know, I have to share that the hardware store is just so delightful. We come in with an issue with, you know, a piece of our equipment. These people have never laid eyes on a telescope before, but you bring in something, you ask for something, and they bend over backwards to help you figure out what will solve your problem so that you can get your telescope up and running tonight. I've just been amazed at how creative they are in helping us find the nut, the screw, I went in looking for weights. I was looking for weights and came up with some really oddball stuff because I just needed something to help balance my telescope. And they were very helpful. I think I ended up with some kind of truck part, but it was heavy enough to do what I needed to do, and I paid $8 for it, you know. And it was just, they're wonderful people. They love to see us, and they love to see us spend money, and it's so helpful to them. So if we can do that in other places like Takema, I'm sure that would be greatly appreciated there too.
Absolutely. Just in my comfort, I'm thinking of other things that we can do. And just in my conversations with Lee, you know, another thing is that as astronomy hobbyists, so many of you are, you know, experts kind of in this field and have this wealth of knowledge that can also be shared with, you know, potentially some of the outreach coordinators that work at game and parks that will put together dedicated programming or try and offer events at these locales. So, you know, also on the horizon is the potential for some of you to maybe volunteer to offer, you know, a class on how to teach, you know, or to teach some of these employees that will now be stepping into, you know, maybe, you know, roles in which they increasingly need to talk about or know about astronomy. So that can be yet another way that we, work together to help bring about good things on the horizon, more astronomy outreach.
I got a question for you, a quick
Sure.
one. You get a $35 individual membership fee. Have you considered trying to chase down corporate memberships, for like $100 or $200 and get like the Walmarts and the places that have a lot of lights in their parking lots? And if they become members, maybe they'll say, you know what, we'll turn off half of our lights, or they'll go a weekend.
I would certainly like to. I think the larger, I'm just one person. So when I go and speak to somebody, they aren't, maybe they'll listen to me. Maybe they'll think that, that I've got half a brain. I want to, but having, that's another reason why just having like building our member base, I think can be really a strong way for us to lobby for that. So for instance, I can set a meeting with the Nebraska Department of Transportation tomorrow, and little old me can go in and say, I really think that you guys should consider when bidding your next, streetlight retrofit, shielding all your lights and
every other one,
and doing and changing all your lamps out to be amber colored or less than 3000 K. Now, I think that would have a much bigger impact if I could say, well, we have 400 something members of, IDA now in Nebraska, and a growing, a growing number of people that are advocating for this. It's not just me. It's lots of people and lots of communities that now want to make this change, and that will be angry with you and will write their city councilmen or attend their town hall meetings and kind of rage against just the same old status quo of whatever light you want to put on up in the street. So I think it kind of comes hand in hand that if we can grow our coalition, we'll be stronger in numbers, and we'll be able to have a larger impact and be listened to more at some significant meetings with
I think if you can
more
get some
serious
big corporations in there, I mean, they've got a lot of clout and a lot of money.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And that's part of that's also part of what IDA does. So IDA actually does lobby in Congress. So they do lobby for their mission and with electrical companies to start supplying more dark sky friendly lighting, so that when electrical companies do bid like a streetlight project, they've got an option for dark sky friendly lighting in their bid proposal, instead of just the same old crazy 5,000 K LEDs that they want to transform the world with.
Is the IDA willing to give you information on how many individual members there are in Nebraska?
Yes, the last time I checked, which was probably over a year ago, there were 10.
10?
10.
That's surprising.
We've got some work to do. We've got some work to do. So yeah, there were 10 the last time I checked.
Just a note on that, the OAS is a member organization.
Yes. And so they would count, of course, as a membership, but that's part of, the reason it could be great, that it's $100 membership, that's great, but it's counting as, they're only seeing that as one membership, as opposed to if all the members of OAS were to make an individual contribution, that could really have a much more significant translation as to how many people are truly involved and invested in this.
I wonder if those 10 are all here tonight.
They probably are. I wouldn't be surprised.
One of them.
Well, some of them are in Lincoln, to be fair.
You'll have 11
MSP is
tomorrow.
also an organizational member.
As opposed to where you're from, Jenna, which is Arizona, which is like an entire dark sky state. So,
except around Phoenix.
Yes, Phoenix is awful. I wouldn't recommend. but Tucson is cool, and Flagstaff is really, really cool. Sedona is fantastic. And Grand Canyon, if you haven't had a chance to visit, it's pretty spectacular as well. So, but I gotta say, I was pretty floored, significantly floored the first time I visited Merritt and actually was able to experience the nightscape there. It is truly special, and I'm really excited to finally get it protected, and preserved. And I hope that it's just one of many. I think that the folks that I'm working with at Game and Parks are open to the possibility of pursuing other designations. This has been a long road. I think everybody thought it would maybe be a little bit easier than it has proved to be, but it was our first. So hopefully we can kind of use this as a roadmap to tackle future designations at other state recreation areas and parks across the state. I know Lee works at Ogallala. That's kind of, right in there in that swath, just a little bit south.
I today just barely stopped a bunch of construction, a new capital project, from having a bunch of open lighting. I went to my manager and I said, no, we are going to have down facing lighting. It will be 3000 Kelvin. So
yes.
And he was like, I don't know if that's going to work. And I was like, listen, there's a campground right next to them. They're going to be really angry if we don't do this. And I did not make it about dark skies at all, but 100% I was doing it just for the dark skies.
Heck yes.
I want to thank Jenna for all the work she has done. She's been working with us for about 2 years.
I'm going to second that.
And when, we have been at NSP, our board has been working on this for several years. We always were making progress in tiny amounts as we moved along. And we look at the list and it was so hard to get through everything. And Jenna showed up and just said, oh yeah, I've done this. Here, we're going to do this and this and this and this and this. And she's just done phenomenal work. So she deserves a lot of credit for what she's done. We greatly appreciate her work because she's made it just so spectacular. Thank you, Jenna.
Nina, thank you. You're going to make me cry. No, it's been my pleasure. And I couldn't have done it without, like I said in the presentation, I really don't think this would have been possible. I don't think that it would have been perceived or received well if it weren't for the presence of the Star Party already being there. That's so much of the battle is just having that exposure to see that, oh yeah, people do really care about this. There are 300 people that attend this event every year. It's not nothing. It's not just a couple of kooky people with their scopes that want to attend that are trying to prevent you from having your flashlight on. It's so much more than that. So
Jenna, Rodney Butler, I have one more question.
Go ahead, Rodney.
Where could one get one of those dark sky meters you were talking about?
I can put the link in the chat.
Oh,
Unihedron is a big
Got it.
supplier.
All right, thank you.
Well,
that just sounded intriguing. So,
and how much are they?
They range about $100, 120. They're not super cheap, but depending on the one that I would recommend, I'm going to put the link for the Unihedron, the L, which is like the limited lens. That's specifically the one that you need to use if you are supplying data for an IDSP.
Okay,
I have a question regarding getting Merit certified.
Sure.
When it comes to the trading post that's there, it's my understanding that's a privately owned business that's on public land, which is kind of unique, I think. are they obviously they're involved with getting their lights retrofitted and whatnot? Who's paying for all that, and how does that? Maybe I missed that.
That was my question.
Yes, I left a lot of specifics out, but Game and Parks in our so they are a contracted concessionaire with Game and Parks. So they own the buildings, but they do not own the land on which they operate. Right. So Game and Parks kind of politely bartered a deal with them to say that if they were willing to retrofit their lighting, that Game and Parks would pay for the lighting that would be the new lighting to be installed. They would purchase the new light fixtures and bulbs. They said that the lighting installation itself would fall on the trading post to complete, and graciously, again, to the rescue, here comes Nebraska Star Party, who have now agreed to pay for an electrician to do the install for all the lighting at the Merit Trading Post.
Nice.
Okay, we got 2 more questions. Kim, do you have one? And then Steve Skinner.
No, mine was just that same one. I was saying,
okay.
Who pays for
And
that? Yeah.
Steve, you have your hand up.
Yeah, this is something I just happened to see the other day, and it may be old news, but if you happen to own an iPhone 12, there is an app for that specific phone, called Dark Sky. And I think it converts the phone into a legitimate measuring tool.
Yep. And that is I think a pay for app. I think it's like $1.99. Is that right? Or is it free now? Last I checked, I think it wasn't too expensive, but it was like $2. But yes, that is something that IDA, I can also drop the link for that in here in the chat if anybody's interested, but that is also something that the IDA on their site will advertise as an option for in replacement of a unihedron. You can use that. Now, I couldn't just simply use that tool for submitting the data that I will supply in our application. I do need that to be via a Sky Quality Meter L limited lens for that to kind of be acceptable. But if you're just wanting to have it as a kind of hobby tool, I think that's a great, much more affordable alternative to purchasing a Sky Quality Meter.
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Jenna.
Thank you guys for having me.
Great presentation.
Oh, you're welcome. It was a wonderful presentation.
Oh, thank you guys.
That was awesome.
Hey, Jenna. Did you say you're from Arizona?
I'm actually originally from Georgia, but I did spend the last 5 years prior to moving here living and working at Grand Canyon National Park. So that's my limited scope. I did travel a lot over the Southwest over those 5 years. It was a wonderful place to be. We would joke that you're a 4-hour drive from something really cool.
Yeah, well, my husband and I moved to Pinedale, Arizona about a little over a year ago. So
Pinedale is neat. Yes, I know where that is. Very cool.
And it's a very, very dark sky. We do our astronomy from our own backyard. So just thought I'd brag a little bit about that. Thank you.
Enjoy it. Give the desert a kiss from me. The high desert is much different than what people think it is.
Well, thank you so much for doing this. Really appreciate it. Would you be willing to, I guess you could leave your email in the chat, or people could, just say that they're interested in volunteering or helping out in any way. And I obviously have your email, so I could always hook you guys up. I don't know how comfortable you are leaving your email in the chat. Oh, perfect. Thank you. Awesome.
Great.
And then I just want to say really quickly, since it's January, if anybody wants to do a presentation this year via Zoom or fingers crossed in person, please email me or get a hold of me or just direct message me. That's going to be pretty important here very soon. So.
Awesome. Thanks, Lee. Do we need a break or do you want to go right into the business meeting? I can't see everybody. I got to change my view here.
Oh, I'm in favor of going directly to.
Okay. You got it.
That's me. Maybe not everybody else agrees.
No, I do
I was
agree.
going to
It's
suggest the
9:30
same
already.
thing, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Okay. The next step would be secretary's report. You want me to pull up the meeting minutes in the Stella? One second, I'm getting there. My mouse. All right. 1, 2, 3. Here it comes. All right. Diana, should we, as they are listed in the Stella?
As they are listed in Stella.
If you want to look through it real quick, I don't know if there's any corrections that anybody may have read in the Stella today that they want to mention.
John, you want to zoom in a little bit on that?
Yeah. Although I noticed that this says
that's pretty fine.
November 6th.
Is that the right one? Let me
I
check.
think you've got 2 sets of minutes in the meeting or in the Stella.
Oh,
This,
okay. There's December 4th.
There's December 4th. Yeah.
And November. Let me. Okay.
Short and sweet. I like
Yep.
that.
Okay.
We're missing.
Yeah, part of the minutes are not there. So
So
scroll up.
Scroll up. Oh,
Just
it's on
scroll
my
up from
email.
the-
Darn it. Okay.
There you go.
Well, that's only part of it, though. It goes down to tool time, but there was more.
Okay. Well,
Whoops.
give me one moment. Let's see. That was earlier this week. Is that correct? So.
I mean, I can pull up the minutes and read them if we need me to do that, and then we'll have to issue a correction in Stella.
Yeah. Well, I've got the rough draft right here.
Well, I sent out a
Oh, there's the
draft.
final.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see if I can make this bigger.
Did I post the wrong draft on there or something?
It's half and half. So it's like partially is December and part of it is November. So it's like page 2 was not there. It only went down to the end of page 1.
I am so sorry about that.
Okay, let me make this
With
bigger.
that, I'm going to take my leave of you folks.
Okay.
Oh,
Thanks,
Steve, we'll just cut your pay in half this month.
Just charge him.
All right, there we go.
That means I'm mowing you.
All right, there we go.
So should we just concentrate on what's not in the Stella since people can read the Stella?
Right. So we go
Sure.
down to tool time. Okay, we had Mike Mulaney mentioning that Menards had Barska binoculars on sale. We didn't have a program at the last meeting because we were having the online holiday party. And at the time, we didn't have any updates on future programs. Business report, I read the minutes from the November meeting as printed in the Stella. There were no corrections. Nita motioned that they be accepted, and Tom Wilson seconded. The motion was passed. Treasurer's report was presented by Michael Gallagher. We had income of $427.63. We had no expenditures. Balance at the end of November was $1,341.12. Michael had filled out the paperwork for Cass County that we need for our tax exempt status.
Let me correct you right there. It's 13,000, not 1,300. 13,000.
13. And we dropped. Okay, we have a zero missed in then. Okay.
No, it's there.
1304.
It's there. You just said it wrong.
I just can't see it. Okay. I'm going blind.
I've got glasses you can borrow.
That won't help. Vice President's report. Rodney reported that Astro Park is in good shape, and Lighthouse doesn't appear to be needing any service at the time. Old business, the Astro Park survey is going to close at the end of December, with the link up at Instella and on the Discord server. Ground school still tabled because of COVID-19. Videos of the past OAS meetings are now up on YouTube and the OAS website, as well as the Google document server for OAS. The November meetings are going to be going up in the near future. OAS website's undergone some minor updates in its appearance, but the essential information should still be there. The 6-inch Celestron SE Go-To scope and accessories purchase was still pending because High Point Scientific's out of stock on a few accessories in their bundle. However, there may be an opportunity to pick up a lightly used 5-inch Celestron SE, which may change our plans to purchase the 6-inch. We still need a youth program coordinator. New business, back to the possible 5-inch. We've been contacted about either receiving as a donation or purchasing for a modest price a lightly used 5-inch Celestron Nexstar SE. Because the man who currently owns it is no longer using it due to declining health. Bill Bond was going to follow up on it, as he knows the gentleman who owns the telescope. And there was some discussion about if we do get the 5-inch, whether we should go ahead purchasing the 6-inch. And after some discussion, we agreed that since the 6-inch SE bundle is currently out of stock and we'd either be getting the 5-inch free or at a greatly reduced price, we should go ahead and see about obtaining the 5-inch and then make a decision at a future point about what to do with the 6-inch. Then we noted that the first Friday of January 2021 was falling on New Year's Day. So I made a motion that we move the meeting to Friday, January 8th. That was seconded by Steve Condry, and the motion was passed. And then we made a motion to close the business meeting. Rodney Botroff made the motion, seconded, Tom Wilson second, and then was passed. Next meeting is held at 7:30 p.m. on Friday, January 8th via Zoom. And that's the December 2020 meeting minutes.
I'd like to make a comment that I pulled up the Stella, and yes, part of the November minutes were in there, but then after that, the rest of the December minutes were there. So it looks like all of the December minutes are in the Stella, but they're just
split in half.
They're split in half, and there's an insert of part of the November minutes in there.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Louis.
Easy fix.
Okay, there isn't any corrections or additions. We have a motion to accept the minutes as read.
This is Tom Wilson. Yeah, I motion.
Lee Baker, I'll second it.
Okay, Cleat. A motion has been made and seconded to accept the minutes as read. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Say nay. All right. That is done. Treasurer's report.
So in December, We had just dues collected, $299.90. Expenditures, there was $150 for mowing in Astro Park. The account balance at the end of the month, $13,290.92. This month so far, we've received in dues $124.97, and that's all
For January so far.
for January so far. Yeah.
Okay.
So that's no expenditures or anything, nothing else. That'd be
Right.
it.
Thank you. Vice President's report.
Yes. Is
Is Aaron here?
Yeah. Noted by Aaron, the only tracks in there. I don't know. My car is pretty slow slung to the ground. I don't know if I'd have made it down there anyway. But no, I hadn't been there since last month. If Aaron's the only one that was there, then the lighthouse should be in the same shape. No, is that technically my duty to get down there and scoop off concrete pads, or
I don't.
Oh, heck no.
No.
Don't believe so.
No, Rodney,
No.
don't go doing that.
Dear God.
I was hoping not. And he said he scooped it up, and I was like, "Oh crap, is that my job?"
No.
We want you to shovel that whole driveway down to the pads,
Oh
please.
man,
The lighthouse, like a path to the lighthouse would
by
be good
hand,
too.
right?
Oh, we don't expect you to do any of that. I haven't anyway. Maybe I can't speak for the whole group, but I don't think anybody's ever done that.
No, I didn't. But you need to change the toilet paper once in a while.
Yeah.
Aaron,
Yeah,
take a
well,
roll with
yeah.
you.
As soon as as soon as it's probably clear by now. I noticed the roads are clearing, so I'll I'll be able to drive again here pretty quick, and I'll get down there.
No, really, you're
Expense that
supposed to take
toilet
your
paper
own.
back to the group.
What's that?
If you have to put toilet paper, expense it back.
Oh.
Normally, when they service it, they put paper in it.
Okay.
Same with the tablet things.
You mean the mints?
That's the technical
The
term.
mint, yeah.
The men's? Where's the women's?
The mints.
Yeah, it's a little refreshing mint. But,
Quickly going
yeah, but
down the drain. All right. Okay.
BP report.
We got a lot to get through still. Thank you, Rodney. The Astro Parks survey, I shut it off. So there were 27 respondents. Tonight's not the night to go through with it because we don't have enough time. So that'll be next month because we have an important thing later tonight that we have to get through as part of process and procedure. So ground school is tabled for now. The December and November meeting videos are up on the website now. And the purchase of the 6-inch neck stars in hold, which is based upon number 5, which is the Nexstar 5 SE, if there's any change on that. I gotta see who's here.
Hey, John, this is Bill.
Hi, Bill.
I called Cliff about that, and as I was informed, he was not in his house at the time. So he said, call back in a week to 10 days. So I called back in about 10-day period, and I got no answer from him. I called back a few days later, got no answer from him, and I have not tried to call him since.
Okay. Alrighty. Well, perhaps he might contact us again then. He didn't have a voicemail though, did he?
No, he didn't.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Bill. Appreciate it. Let me mark that down. Youth program coordinator chair. I think we're just gonna not discuss that this evening because we have to do budget.
Yeah.
We don't have to do budget. We can skip the pain.
Oh no, we gotta do budget. So I didn't really change any of these numbers from an income standpoint. There is a possibility that the dues are going to go up just because there's more, what appear to be we're getting more members. Oh, I did change the outreach number. It was 650. I changed it to 350. If you take into effect that maybe we only do outreach for half the year. So maybe fall events instead of the spring events. So from an income standpoint, does that look good for you guys? Anybody have any comments?
I would say you don't have any idea whether you're going to do any of it at all.
Yeah.
Well,
Makes you think the fall is going to be any different than the spring.
I was just thinking.
Just to be more COVID than now. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
They'll still be trying to figure out how they're going to give people a shot.
We still have the calendars on there, even though we didn't do calendars in 2020. That'll probably change. The rent listed is the lease of the buildings at the site. That renews in January. We'll probably see that on next month's treasurer's report. Miscellaneous extras and Amazon Smile donations, and that's variable. I think that the number we saw for, I got an email that said there was like $27 and some cents. Anybody who had OAS listed, they all got the same number. So that varies. So I don't really have a number to put in there. As for expenses, I didn't really change those at all, except I may have added a couple items. We really didn't use a lot of our budget last year because of the coronavirus pandemic. We think we looked it up and it was almost like $1,400 last year that we did not spend on a lot of the things, especially like the Star Party food. We didn't do Rock for the Road. There was no astronomy day, no calendars. We did have the 2 awards for last year for the Metro Science Fair. I have the insurance highlighted because I couldn't remember that number. Mike Gallo, do you remember if that changed or if it's still 300?
You know, offhand, I'm not prepared to tell you, you know. I mean, I can dig for that, of course, but I could tell you tomorrow. But I don't think that's the number, if that's what you mean.
Yeah.
Because we have a different insurance company now.
Mm-hmm.
Is it significantly different?
No, I don't think so. But I just don't remember what it was. I seem like we gave them $260 or something like that.
So that's probably float.
I thought it was 250.
It might have been. I'm just sort of saying I can't remember what the amount was right this second, and I haven't done a total for all the. I don't have it in front of me. I mean, it's in my computer. But
Well, we can take that out of my discretionary if we need to.
300 should cover it.
Yeah.
Come close.
We sort of don't know, you know, what we're going to do this year or not do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We might get back to normal. Who knows? But we might not.
We didn't do refreshments for the holiday party. Still on the website. The telescope repairs we carried over from last year, just as a general number to have in case there is an issue. Doesn't necessarily mean that we did use $700 last year. It just seemed like a good amount to have. We did have a motion to do the Nexstar 6 SE. I only put that as conditional for whether we would get the 5 or not. We did do that as a motion, but since it has not purchased yet, I think we should put it in the budget for this year, just so it's on a line item. And the idea of possibly getting a couple cameras for outreach to do streaming over Zoom. That's what the cameras for outreach number is on there.
Could you do me a favor and shoot me these numbers in an email?
Yes.
Thank you.
Hey, John, question for you.
Mm-hmm.
On your cameras for outreach, is that 2 cameras or is that 15 cameras?
That's 2 cameras.
Okay.
I'll do it like this.
What are those cameras going to do?
Well, they could be part of the telescope loan program, kind of like we have the Coronado that we use a lot for events, but try to promote some amount of sharing through virtual for outreach to try to get more people interested. Krista had when she was working with the Boy Scout, or means the Girl Scouts.
Great
Yes.
experience with John.
John
Kids
Johnson.
absolutely loved it. That's John Johnson.
And there just wasn't something like that in the inventory currently. I bought a ZSO planetary camera. This was only $140. So that's not too bad. There might be a one that's a little bit faster or a little bit bigger sensor. It may not spend $700. It's just an idea of a ceiling for 2 and what we can get from a price perspective. So, comment period.
I think it looks good.
I think it looks as good as it can.
Yeah, things are so uncertain right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see a reason to work around too hard.
And I think we need to wing it a little bit around what we'll be able to do. I think since this is for a whole year, as was mentioned, maybe we will get to do some outreach, but we'd only probably have half a year's worth. So I think this will be sufficient. But anything that goes beyond, we can always bring it back to the group.
Yeah, I mean, and for a lot of these estimates, we budgeted high. So we're, if COVID keeps us from doing things longer, we'll actually spend less than what we budgeted, which is not a problem.
And we have a $13,000 cushion if everything goes to hell in a handbasket.
Yeah.
Yes. Our income is high because we didn't spend the money on a lot of things last year that we had budgeted for. So
you might come up with something you want to spend money on too.
Let's kill some trees.
We've been discussing
the
Astro Park,
trees,
for instance, or pads, or other things.
It's possible to reuse the Rock for Road money for trees. Would that be since it's allocated to Astro Park?
Well, anything that you got to understand, this is just an outline of it, possible expenses. If we have to go and do something else, we can always have a motion during a meeting to allocate more money like that.
Okay.
But that's a good point, John. If you put Astro Park work and then put Rock for Road in parentheses, that could be an assumption that
it's a maintenance number.
A maintenance number, not a specific same. So maybe Astro Park work, and then parenthesis EG Rockford Road.
Or just put it down as maintenance.
Yeah, I
Put
like
maintenance and then EG, Rockford Road, tree.
like that.
Perfect.
Yeah, I would make a motion that we increase that number from 500 to 1,000.
I agree with that.
Yeah, especially if you get into tree trimming.
True.
Yeah.
We just have them push them down.
Seconded Bills.
I second it. This is Tom.
Tom. All those in favor?
No, do we have to vote on that, or do we vote on that at the end?
We'll vote it on the end. We're getting
No, I think it's the motion's on the table. You need to vote on it
Okay.
now.
Yeah.
All those in favor of increasing the maintenance budget from 500 to 1,000, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It's 1,000. There we go. So we have a budget. There's only one thing left to do with the budget. We have a motion for the budget.
I
You gotta
motion
add
that
that
we
500
accept
on
the
the
budget.
bottom.
Do I?
Or is it automatically do it?
Ooh, magic.
Look at that.
I'm a computer guy.
You're so much better than I am.
You the computer guy?
Oh, wait a minute. Let me check the formula. Did I put that? Yep. C30. Yep. Okay.
Krista,
there a
I make a
motion?
motion to accept the budget as proposed here.
Krista.
I'll
Motion.
second that.
Bill seconds. Budget. A motion has been made to accept the budget by Krista and seconded by Bill. All those in favor of accepting the budget, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed want to stay longer? There we go. We have a budget, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, my second time I've done this.
Nice brand new baby, bouncing baby budget.
Bouncing baby budget.
Thankfully,
Golf
you're
clap.
a computer guy.
Off clap.
Yeah. Is there a motion to adjourn the business meeting?
Oh, I'll do that.
This is Tom. I'll second it.
This is Rodney.
Oh, he beat you under the wire, Rodney. Tom Wilson.
Oh man.
Not a competition. Just
It could be Tom
reality.
We will all just second it.
Don't make me laugh. I'm trying to. I'm tired. Okay. A motion has been made to adjourn the business meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed.
Oh,
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
I want us
Good
to
night,
stay online
everybody.
forever.
Oh,
Hey,
thank you for making the end of my week a delight. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Hi, this is Dean Fife. Sorry, I joined late tonight. I'm a guest. And I've been watching you guys tonight. I'm probably going to be joining. I got my stuff filled out, but first time I've joined, I had a problem getting in to begin with. So anyway, hello everybody, and I'll probably meet you on other meetings.
Well, you can sit and chat for a while if you've got time.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Welcome.
stop. I'm gonna stop my screen share, and I'm going to